Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. There's the daylight here at dawn, May 27th, 2021. We have from 1860, not 1960, 1860, Ronrico Extra Smooth Premium Silver Label Caribbean. There's the silver label. There's the beach. There's the walkway to the cabana. And then if you look carefully, there are people drinking and drinks lined up at the bar. It's so tiny you can't really make it out. And there's the ocean in the background. Ronrico silver label. There's the Spanish Royal Crest. There's a story behind that. Talk about it in a minute. And on the back, as expected, there is always a recipe. Ronrico Caribbean Breeze. Whether you get Ronrico silver label, gold label, 151 añejo, or spiced, it's going to have that recipe. Not that particular recipe, but a recipe. Bottled by Ronrico Rum Company, Frankfort and Claremont, Kentucky. Oh, made a mistake. I was thinking of the Palo Viejo. Let me update this real quickly. Bottled in Kentucky. Let me just delete this sentence and delete this. All right, done. Now, Claremont and Frankfort, Kentucky. Claremont is the headquarters of Beam Suntory, Jim Beam, for United States operation, and Frankfort is their bottling plant, or is one of their bottling plants. I don't think they give tours there, though, because I was in Frankfort 4 years ago, and a truck driver was telling me, yeah, it's open. I said, did they give tours? Yeah, I was just in there. But, he was in there to make a delivery or pick up something. I don't think he was in there to do a tour. I think it's just an industrial facility. Anyway, it's actually made in the United States Virgin Islands, St. Croix Island, by Cruzan Distillery. All right, so it's got this blue bottleneck, like sky blue. It looks white on video, but it's a sky blue. You might be able to pick that up. I don't know, it's glare. And then there's sky blue in the back. So it's the sky, the beach. Nice label. They've changed the label over the years. If you go to International Market in Metairie, Louisiana on Barron Street, they have so many different bottle designs. They have like the current one, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, I don't know where they get all these old bottles, all right? But they've been having it for $8.99, $8.99. I paid $9.99 at Winn-Dixie, $9.99 on sale at Winn-Dixie. Could have gotten the big handle bottles like this for $12.99 at Zapata's, but I didn't really want to deal with the big bottles. Okay, now this one I couldn't pass up because it was $9.99. Cane Run Estate, now just known as Cane Run, as the last few months at least. Number 12 recipe, produced in Trinidad for Sazerac Company, the Sazerac Company. And there is a website. There's no website listing for this. You just can't find it on the internet. Maybe some old advertisements back when Ronrico was up there prominent with Bacardi and Captain Morgan. Used to be one of the big ones. Anyway, I will get to that story later. Cane Run, made by traditional methods from real Caribbean sugarcane. So we know the sugarcane is coming from the Caribbean, not Louisiana. Well, Trinidad, so you know they got sugarcane down there. Imported, bottled in Louisville, Kentucky by the Sazerac Company. And then there's a little card on there, a little sales tag about an award they want. This big bottle is $18.99 at Total Wine & More. Just check their website. It's $18.99. Was $17.99. Everything's been going up in price. And I got it for $9.99. $9.99 at the legendary Discount Depot on U.S. Highway 90 Business Route westbound in Marrero, Louisiana. Dixie Baseman says, good morning, Ron. I'm glad to see your computer's finally done updating. It's finally cooperating. It never did do an update. I don't think it was that problem. Thank you. I think it was a YouTube problem. Because I wasn't really having trouble anywhere else except this particular website, web platform. So I think it was that. It was just some problem they were having. And then, which ain't the first time, ain't going to be the last time. And then it just was gone. Problem disappeared. So they were running. I wasn't running slow. You know what I'm saying? My system was not running slow. They were running slow. Last night, StreamYard, examine any cheap white wine. That was perfect. No glitches, no holdups, no freeze-ups. But yesterday I could just see it was not going to be a viable, not yesterday, day before yesterday, it was not going to be a viable thing. So I just recorded the taste challenges and uploaded them, which took forever with the YouTube problem. I mean, they uploaded. It was just like 4 times as slow. Usually it'll upload quickly. But I said, oh, it's going to be an all-day thing, seemingly. I said, it'll probably go away, though. And it did. Whatever their maintenance trouble, you know, whatever they could have had some equipment failure or whatever. All right. Is this going to be a close contest? Probably so. They're probably on par one to another with quality. Remember, I was shocked by the Bacardi because I thought Bacardi was going to just whip this thing and it was going to be a bad beating, but it wasn't. And I could barely tell them apart. Ultimately, I was able to determine which was which. It was so difficult. It might have been more luck than, you know, skill. I mean, you do have a 50-50 shot. It's only 2 products, so that's the kind of videos I like to watch. Head-to-head contests, or like say Guinness draft versus Guinness, you know, can draft versus bottle drafts, things like that. But the ones I really don't like to watch are these multi-brand videos. Like people will say, you know, it'd be like an 18-minute video, and I don't mind the length. I watch 30-minute videos sometimes. They're extremely interesting. But it might be 18 or 20 minutes, and it's like 8 different beers. And sometimes it'd be all different styles. And they're saying, oh, this one's like this one's like that, this one's like this one's like that, this one's like this one's like that. I can't follow it. I'm like, I can't concentrate on all of this Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds approach. So I just, I don't watch those. I don't know why. And those people are always saying, you know, man, subscribe to my channel. You know, they're like begging people, imploring people. We got to grow this and all. And I'm saying you could grow it better if you would make an individual video for each beer. Why you got to put 8 beers in one video, make it 18 minutes? You get a lot more viewership. This is my advice. They would get a lot more viewership if they were doing one video for each brand. Maybe each video is 9 minutes or 8 minutes long. And people are going to watch that. Put a title. Miller High Life. Hoegaarden. Whatever. Because these multi-title videos, it might just be this week's examination. It doesn't draw a lot of people in. I mean, you know, like this week's lineup. That's the name of the title. This week's lineup. And then maybe in the notes, they'll list the beers. I say, no. I mean, some people might want to watch that. I'm not saying I'm saying I don't want to watch it, but I'm saying that's not a good way to build your channel because it's not going to pull in a lot of people. But you have those keywords out there, Coors Light, you know, you'll get 1,000 people watching it just because people like Coors Light. Why? I don't know why they like it. It's kind of bland, but it's one of the most popular beers in America. So you know what I'm saying? If your goal in life is to grow your channel, then I have some ideas that will help. Thankfully, that is not my goal in life. As evidenced by the fact that I never asked for anybody to like the video or subscribe to the channel. I figure if they like it, they'll like it. If they want to subscribe, they'll subscribe. They have enough sense, you would hope, to make these decisions without being like egged on to do it. Of course, we want comments, because what's the purpose of doing videos without comments and interaction? And I always, and I'll tell people, hey, you could join Alcohol Legs because, well, I mean, it's a fun hangout group on Facebook where you could look at, alcohol, old advertisements, people's opinions about products. It's a very laid back group, no drama queens in there. I'm talking about the men who are drama queens, So, mainly. So, you just don't have that kind of trouble there. So it's very nice. All right. Ronrico got bought out at some point. I don't even know who the company was that started. It might have just been called Ronrico Company, Rich Rum. It was well regarded because they received a crest from the King of Spain in 1889, an official designation as a rum of Spanish nobles. That's what it was called. A rum of Spanish nobles. Kind of an award, and only certain people could put that on their bottles, certain companies. Just like in England and Scotland, those companies always will be bragging about how they got to be declared an official Scotch whiskey to the royal family, and they'll put that on there, a royal warrant, and they'll always have that crown and the shield, and they say, this whiskey is brewed under a royal warrant. We received this from King George VI in 1950. And, obviously they want you to have the impression that the royal family's sitting down in the evening drinking Johnny Walker Red Label. You know what I mean? So same thing in Spain. Puerto Rico was a Spanish area, part of Spain, which the United States took from them. But that's another story. But in 1898, 123 years ago. But and so that was their bragging rights. Now, Cane Run is a new kid on the block. It's only been around 6 years. It's Sazerac's attempt to establish a mainline white, clear, silver rum brand to compete with the Captain Morgans, the Bacardis, the Don Q, I guess, is pretty popular, but you don't ever see advertisements for Don Q. Maybe I did during a baseball game once, and I said, look at that, Don Q. But you see Bacardi ads all the time, Captain Morgan, that's common. There is only one Captain Morgan, and they're jumping up and down. I've never seen a Cane Run ad. I've never seen an ad for any Sazerac product on TV. I guess they don't either have the money to do it or they don't want to do it. Okay. But Ronrico got sold to General Wine and Spirits at some point. I don't know when. Maybe during Prohibition. I just do not know. Who is General Wine and Spirits? You say, I never heard of that. It was a subsidiary of Seagram's. The Seagram's liquor empire started in 1859. I think it was 59. But you went from having Ronrico advertisements in all your magazines, because they weren't allowed on TV back then, or radio. Displays in all the stores, right up there competing with Captain Morgan, which I think was started by Seagram's. Something's in my mouth. I think Captain Morgan, coffee grind. Captain Morgan was a Seagram's creation back in 1943, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, Ronrico was right up there competing with Bacardi. And they had all kind of sweepstakes in the magazines, like Sports Illustrated, win a Trans Am, win a Mustang GT or a Cobra. I think it was a Cobra. With all of this stuff, of course, the Trans Am was a silver Trans Am or a gold Trans Am, right? The Ronrico Silver or the Ronrico Gold. Then it started to fade. Like you'll notice there's hardly any 80s advertisements and no 90s. Well, you know what happened, because Seagram's started to fade. The Seagram's company began to collapse, obviously, because they started shedding their brands, selling off their products. They sold a whole load of brands to Sazerac and even facilities to Sazerac in 1989. That's how Sazerac got a hold of Yukon Jack, No, that was from Diageo. Diageo got it, then Sazerac got it. But that's how Sazerac got, Canadian Hunter and John James Fox Canadian whiskey and all and the very popular Fireball. See, Fireball was a outlier. Like it existed since 1984, but who in the world drank Fireball? Dr. McGillicuddy's Fireball. But Sazerac took that brand and bought it for like 25 cents comparatively and made $1 million off of it. It was like Alaska. They bought Alaska and it was worth a fortune, In 1994, apparently there was another big sell-off, and Seagram sold off a bunch of brands to Beam, the Jim Beam company, and one of them was Ronrico. And that's why Ronrico is in this Jim Beam looking bottle. Get a bottle of, not Jim Beam, but you know what I'm saying, their company. Like, get a bottle of Kessler, get a bottle of Old Crow. There's a perfect example. Go get a bottle of Old Crow. You say, woof, it's the same bottle design with that wide shoulder. Get a bottle of Beam's 8-star. That's in this type of bottle. Yes, that's right. See, the history is more interesting than the products. BC's Beer Reviews. Oh, it's BC's Beer Reviews. Good morning, Ron. Good morning to you. I got you all in check. What I mean is, woo-ha, I got you all in check. No, I'm going to watch your video that you did sitting outside with that beer. I got to do it later on. I got to do some house cleaning. 8 different beers, good luck tasting everything fairly. Also, with the most people's tolerance, perception isn't reality. I've seen enough at bars to know. I doubt they will be sober when it's all said and done. And those videos are not uncommon. They're all over the internet, but I just don't watch them. It's too confusing. It's too much, too many variables, and like you're saying, they're saying, well, oh, this Guinness Foreign Extra Stout is great. Now on to Pilsner Urquell. Now on to Coors Light. I'm like, well, you're mixing styles. That's bad enough. You're consuming all this beer and it gets very sloppy. And it's just not a good format. It's just not a good format, in my humble opinion, my less than humble opinion. No, I'm humble. I'm very modest, y'all. I'm going to make a billboard and have it put on the interstate. Say, I am very modest and I'm proud of it. Brandon, good morning to you, Brandon. Thanks for watching. Remember, you're always welcome to rejoin our Wednesday night things. And next Wednesday, Miller High Life returns after a 7-year absence. We're going to examine Miller High Life again after 7 long years. I think the last time we did it was in 2014. One of the first hangouts we did was Miller Fortune, but it disappeared. It won't be coming back. Miller Fortune won't be coming back for the rest of its life, which has already ended. This smells very oaky. Wow. It almost smells like whiskey. You say, you're mad. You've gone crazy. Well, I'm just telling you what it smells like. It's very pungent, and it's like oak barrels. Are they using old charred leftover Jim Beam barrels? I mean, this is exotic. And I never would have expected it. A better format if you are reviewing multiple beers in a short amount of time is to use a spit bucket and drink water in between. Well, my advice would be just don't do it. Don't do that format. Just throw all those videos to the bottom of the sea. Round them all up. Put them in a huge burlap bag and throw them in the ocean and start over. Very interesting and unusual aroma. It's very fermented. It's very yeasty. It's sugar, yeah, a little bit. Molasses, light molasses, but it's like fermented in yeast. Yeast, bread, you say bread, you've really cracked up. That's made out of sugar, fool. I understand that. I get that. But it's a strange thing going on here with this aroma. When you're a stranger, I met a white man walking a black dog. All right. Well, maybe my nose cleared up or something. Maybe it was stuffy and I didn't realize it, because this has some interesting yeastiness too. But you mean like the yeasty boys? Be true to yourself and you will never fall. No, I just mean it's more developed or something than in the past. Well, but grassy. Oh, for shizzle. Grass. The lunatic is on the grass. What I'm saying to you at this particular moment, as I walk through the halls of karma, is that the Sazerac cane run, I notice, has a grassy quality to it. And they're using cane juice, and don't even know if they're going straight, because usually what you do with rum, you take molasses, which is a byproduct of sugar, and then you make the rum. They found out that you didn't have to throw the molasses out. Talk about in like the 1600s. You could turn it into a liquor. Oh, and then the sugar production skyrocketed. And that led to more colonies and more triangular trade and more this and more that, and, and then everything else. All right, so, but, this one maybe is more sugary, so maybe it's the Ronrico. But I'm not sure, and that's why we're going to do a taste challenge, because after all, it is a taste challenge, not a discussion challenge or a history of Trinidad challenge or anything else. Miller Fortune was a good beer, says Brandon. It was different. Oh, this is very sugary. Sadly, if they do bring it back, it likely won't be similar or as good. The new Chesterfields don't burn as well as the originals, and from my friends who used to swear by them, they don't taste as good. Oh, you talking about the green, the blue, and the red label Chesterfield? I don't think they ever discontinued Chesterfield. I just think they reformatted it. And apparently, Pall Mall cigarettes are still available. Pall Mall, you say? Not Pall Mall. Well, that too. That's kind of rare. I'm talking about Philip Morris. Like, you say, well, yeah, that's a company, Altria. We know about that. Philip Morris is a subsidiary of Altria, mainly the whole company. They used to own Miller Beer until 2016, I mean to say 2016. No, I'm talking about the actual brand of cigarettes called Philip Morris. Like the company has its own brand. They always did since like 1856. They're headquartered in London, England. Call for Philip Morris. Now find that pack. Find that cake carton. That pack. You might have something you could trade. You might have a diamond in the rough. If you find a pack of Picayune cigarettes, you might be elected vice president of the world. You'll be so famous. Remember, you heard it here. Picayune cigarettes. Haha. Nah. I know you're jealous. I mean, I'm jealous too, because I don't have them, and I don't even smoke cigarettes. All right. I don't know, but I've been told in the heat of the day a man died of cold. This one is so grassy. Oh, so very grassy. You say, well, I don't know if I want to drink a liquid that tastes like grass. Yeah, it doesn't directly taste like grass. It tastes like rum, of course, but with grassy qualities or notes, and it's hard to describe that unless you're tasting it yourself. Same thing with if you've never had Pilsner or Urquell or any traditional European Pilsner, and I'm trying to describe grassiness to you, you might say, I don't get it, I don't understand. You're leading me off track. And I would say, you have to, and we assume when people watch these tasting videos that they're going to taste it, what I'm saying? They're not going to watch a Budweiser video and then not drink it. You would think, I would assume. You say, well, they got people watch football. They don't play pro football, but they watch it. Yes. But that's a game. It's not a evaluation of the game, I guess. I don't know. C Note says, good morning, Ron. Have a great day. C Note. I take that as an insult, Rosado. Thank you for watching, C Note. Peter Green. Oh, yeah. I remember when you started that band. Black Magic Woman. Okay. Hi from Australia. AU. Australia. The Commonwealth of Australia. Formally established in January 1901 as a unified federation, like Canada. Like the United Arab Emirates. That's what the British did. They went around the world trying to create federations. But most of them didn't last. Do you know they tried to make a United States of the West Indies? That's right. Called the Federation of the West Indies. It only lasted about 4 years, and they couldn't get along with each other. And so instead of having some big war or whatever, they just say, oh, well, forget it. They broke it up and made it into separate countries and colonies. But they tried to make the Federation of Central Africa. That didn't work. Yeah, it was called the Federation of Rhodesia and Nyasaland. Didn't work. Federation of South Arabia. That did work, except it became the country of South Yemen, which joined Yemen, North Yemen in 1990, and that's been a chaotic, conflict-ridden hellhole ever since. But, you know, it's important to understand something if you are evaluating it. Exactly. It's important to understand something if you're evaluating it. And I think that's a very good comment, Brandon. A lot of people make evaluations of things that don't understand the product. Or, for example, make evaluations of wars or other historical events, but yet they don't understand the event. Very common, very common. Think of all the people that talk about World War II, but don't actually understand World War II. They understand the details. Now they'll tell you, oh, the Battle of Stalingrad, and they'll memorize all the order of battle. And this division had 1,200 armored, self-propelled guns, but they don't but they only know the details, but they don't understand necessarily the war itself. It's good I guess, to memorize details, but you could easily look those up in a reference book, right? I used to tell students that in history class, I said, well, you don't need to know all these dates because, well, you could just look them up on the internet or in a reference book. But you want to understand what happened, why did it happen? You wanted the general timeline in your mind, so you have reference points related to other events around the world. I said, but you need to understand why and how and that more than any particular, like we call it trivial details. That's why they call that board game Trivial Pursuit. So if they're telling you they're making rum from cane sugar or cane syrup, cane juice, sugar cane juice, rather than molasses, clear, light molasses, so that's going to make it a little different. If they're making beer with rice as opposed to another lager made without rice, well, see, now you want to have some knowledge of it. And that's why I get irked sometimes watching video reviews and people will tell me, well, I'm just going cold. I didn't do any research. You know, but why? You don't have time to do research? You want me to take time to watch your video, okay? But you don't have time to do the research. You got time to do jump cuts, editing, have graphics, music, and all of this, but you don't have time to research the product. Oh, okay. Now, I can understand if you're visiting somebody and they just pull out a can of beer and say, let's review it, and you don't really have a lot of time. Okay, that's different. I've done that with my friend David on Duo Reviews. He'll just pop up with something. But later on, before I post the video, I'm going to go research the beer. I'm going to give notes, and I'm going to put a link to the company. You know, I just think it's sloppiness or laziness in a lot of cases. You say, oh, Lord, this is some kind of attack video. You're attacking people's channel. I'm not attacking people's channel whatsoever. I'm just pointing out problems that I think could be easily, or, you know, relatively easily corrected. As could be applicable to my channel. Not to say not applicable both to my channel. Well, these are close, but they're not the same, and they don't taste the same. And you say, well, which one tastes better? Now, that's a good question, and I don't know if I have a good answer. They both taste really good. So don't get caught up in that hype or that illusion, is what it really is, an illusion, a mythical existence of thinking that all inexpensive wine, beer, or liquor products are terrible, trash, garbage, and you'd rather drink horse urine and all that. You hear people say outrageous things like that. Do they have bad ones? Oh, yes. They have some that are monstrously bad. However, that's typically not the case from my experience. What is the normal experience? You buy something like Ronrico for $8.99 in the international market. As it turns out, it's quite good. Actually, you could say, and I did say it in my solo review, it's an excellent product. It's getting into the A range, maybe 91, A minus 90, but it's very good. And so you get many, many unexpected adventures going into these inexpensive, if you want to say cheap. Go ahead, look at our video last night for cheap white wine. Every one of them was good and darn cheap. So don't, my thinking is don't think that way. You can find some great products. And I'm not saying you got to get up there and pretend everything is great. No, I mean, call it as you see it. But I've had so many expensive products that really aren't that great. I mean, they're great. I said they aren't that great. They don't justify the price point is what I'm saying. All right, last comments, and I'm gonna make the call. It's important. Okay, very great, very good comment. I'm gonna remember this comment. It is important to understand something if you are evaluating it. See, that's why we need Brandon on our Hangouts again. Altria owns some nice wine brands, 14 Hands and such. Yeah, that's an interesting company. The Dixie Bassman said, I think one of the Philip Morris cigarettes had a green pack and was called Aviators. Yes, that's right. I've seen some old Aviators. It's Philip Morris Aviators. The British do have a history of screwing up governments, especially with their love of warm beer and Fat Henry. Oh, they created some really good governments, of course, but they they have a history of trying to run the world since 1689. Let's be honest, that's been their program. They say, what is our role in the world? And since 1689, their answer has been to run it like a manager, a world manager. And now they have their junior partner called United States of America. And the British-American axis pretty much is the pole that the world spins around. And if you try to say disagree with that ideology, then maybe you'll be an enemy. Most certainly you'll be targeted. But anyway, that's another time, another place. I tell my students that memorizing the periodic table is like memorizing the phone book. I'd rather have students understand the chemistry. Oh, listen to this renegade. Yeah, they made us memorize the periodic table. Why? I do not know. And as soon as we passed the test, we forgot it. Ronrico must win. It was named after you. Yeah, right. Philip Morris International was spun off from Philip Morris USA Altria now in 2008. But was it actually spun off, or was it like a sub entity? Have you tried any spiced rums yet? No, I have never tried a spiced rum in my life. I'm just going to say Cane Run is a bit smoother and is similar enough to Bacardi, so I'm betting on it. It's a good point. Okay, enough's enough. Been my boss. All right, now, here we go. Like the Runaways said, all right, you guys. That was the name of one of their songs. How you like that? All right, you guys. Interesting band. All right, anyway. Great band, too, because they weren't like these modern, what bands, bull honk bands that's like so self-aware. Oh, man, this song means so much, man. I was like, yeah, right. It means a lot. Anyway, I'm going to say this is Ronrico because it's got a strange yeasty quality. It is the Ronrico. Ha, ha, ha. Never question. Never, ever once in your entire life question my awesomeness in evaluating products, except for the 40% of the time when I'm wrong. You say 40%. So you're only right 60% of the time. And 40% of the time, you're just flat out wrong. Yes, but I would prefer not to mention those times. Now, you might say, well, 60% to 40% is not that great. It's kind of like mediocre in a way. We don't want to let reality intrude on these proceedings, you see. We would rather live in a fantasy world. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we're not that serious about it. You say, really? I kind of noticed that like 11 years ago. So when I get it wrong, I pretend it didn't happen. When I get it right, I want everybody to remember it and promote it and advertise it. So you see. But anyway, no, all kidding aside, I think that the Ronrico is interesting enough, unusual enough, if you want to use that term, Cruzanian enough. That's a good point. Cruzanian enough. It's got enough of the Cruzan oddity to it that helps you differentiate it from other comparable products. And you say, well, you ought to go to, you're saying to me now, I'm speaking in your voice, you should go to international market and buy a pre-Cruzan Ronrico from like 10, 12, 13 years ago, before they shift production to Cruzan, and when it was made in Puerto Rico by whoever was making it in Puerto Rico. Has it changed? Well, that's a very good idea, but I'll probably never do it, you know. But that would be an important point to do. It's just that there's so many brands, there's never enough time. You know, you can't cover everything. You would like to. You think of all these points, like during a 30, 40-minute video here, I'm thinking of like 20 different things. Oh, these are 20 different great things to do. And then got viewers bringing up 20 other great ideas, but you can't get to it. You just can't. You've been getting better at these challenges, wouldn't you agree? Getting better at it. I think so, but I would have to go back and study each video and make a note of each one and how I did. But who in the world is going to do that? I know I'm not. As Meatloaf would say, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Right. But you see, but in this case, you know, I am going to love you. I am going to love Ronrico. I am going to love Cane Rum. I do actually love them. They're great rums. I'm never going to love you, but I am going to love those. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Like Meatloaf told Cher in 1981, he was a dead ringer for love. I haven't seen you review any dark rums or spice rums. Are you saving those for later? I have done some dark rums. In fact, I did Bacardi Black. I did the famous, legendary, Sazerac owns it now. Another great purchase. The Myers is rum. It's actually Myers is, if you look at the label carefully. People call it Myers. But the man's last name was actually Myers, so possessive would be Myers is. But people don't like to speak like that because it sounds like you have a speech impediment. You know, Myers is rum. And so people will say Myers rum. That's literally why people don't use the correct pronunciation. Like you'll hear churches, they'll say Jesus's idea was such and such. But they won't say Jesus's idea. They'll say Jesus' idea was so forth. But actually correct English would be Jesus's parable was so forth. Jesus, apostrophe S, Jesus is. Myers is. Another interesting thing. All right, man, I love meatloaf with mashed potatoes and gravy, says BC. I love to eat meatloaf by the dashboard light. I like good rum, says Brandon. I like good rum too. And I have another good rum coming up. Like a flower. Da, 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 da. All right. I got one rum that will never fade away. Well, it's called, well, it might fade away. It's called Palo Viejo. Palo Viejo since 1906. Get ready. People, get ready. Get ready. Here I come. With Palo Viejo, it means old wood. Literally, it means old wood. But some Puerto Rican people told me what it really means. It's like a double entendre. You know what I'm saying? Like it has a double meaning. The real meaning is like an old guy. Like the rum really means like old guy rum. And they say if you go to Puerto Rico and you'll see some old guys sitting around playing dominoes, drinking Palo Viejo. It's like an old man rum, like old charter bourbon. It's like an old guy, some 69-year-old guy, you know, with a red nose because he drinks all day, stumbles into the package store and he buys his old charter for the next 3 days. And they said it's the same thing in Puerto Rico. Palo Viejo is like an old guy rum. All right, enough of that. You're all hyped up this morning, laughing out loud. I'm always hyped up this morning. I'm high on life. What is you talking about? I listen to Nancy Reagan. How do Ron askew? Are you saying but mine is skewed? Stay away from the meatloaf from the Golden Corral. Do not feed the dog from the food, from the plate, from the table.